Everything going on in Northern California looks like a bit of a mess right now. But your pal Sully thinks maybe I can figure it out.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're at your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Blue Sky, Sully Baseball Podcast on the Instagram. So dropping an episode here on Sunday. This is going to be a Sunday episode, and we're going to be doing these throughout the week. And we're going to talk about something because something caught my eye. And for those of you who know me, and I know I do, I was the guest host for Locked On A's from pretty much the second week of the season right through the end of the year. And I got to be pretty close following the A's day in and day out, and it was a lot of fun doing 2 podcasts a day. I don't recommend the kids don't try that at home, but I did indeed do it, and I followed the team pretty darn closely. And the huge mess of what was happening, first with the Fishers, who are, let's face it, are just not honest people. They were trying to run the team into the ground and then blame the fans for what they were doing. There were so many ways we could have seen the A's stay in the Bay Area, whether it was in Oakland, which would have been the preferred. They could have built it in the parking lot of the Coliseum, a new stadium. There's no shortage of money in the Bay Area. Also, there's a lot of people who thought maybe it could have worked well in San Jose. Fine. What they've done is this incredible self-inflicted wound for their lusting over a stadium that does not exist right now in Las Vegas, that put them in this situation where they're going to be playing embarrassingly in a minor league park for the very least 3 years. I think it's safe to say it'll be 4. Now, I had been saying left and right for a period of time that I felt that the A's were going to stay in Sacramento. I felt that there was going to be issues with raising money for the stadium in Las Vegas. And let's face it, while there's been lots of pledging of money by the Fishers to fill the delta, the cost of the stadium is going up, and no money's been put into escrow yet. When you say, "Oh, we got the money to do it," there's a little bit of trust us. No, nobody trusts you. Put the money in escrow, and there's something about it just feels a little fishy. But if they are going to build the stadium, if they're somehow going to figure out a way to do it, then maybe they won't stay in Sacramento. The thought process I had was Fisher would eventually say, to hell with this, and sell, and probably do the fellow who owns the Kings, and then they would build something in Sacramento. And I think they could probably do okay in Sacramento. I think they probably could, by siphoning off from some of the other regions around them that are not San Francisco, kind of the way that the Angels have found a very, very strong following and draw very well and get very good television ratings because they've siphoned off from all the regions around in Southern California who don't want to be associated with Los Angeles. I think Sacramento could potentially do that. Oakland could as well, but I digress. Well, they're in this horrible situation now where they obviously they're constantly slashing payroll and blaming the fans, and now they're going to be in a minor league ballpark where they can't draw. Even if they sell out the dump every night, it's only 10,000 seats, and they're not going to sell it out every night because the allure of Major League Baseball is going to eventually, unless they put a really good team on the field, is going to fade out a little bit. And of course, they're embarrassingly sharing the stadium with the Sacramento Rivercats, who are the AAA affiliate of the Giants. So they are tenants of the Giants. similar to how the Rays are the tenants to the Yankees. But the Rays are a different situation. The Rays want to stay, and the roof was literally blown off the dump in St. Petersburg. They didn't have to be in. They have to be in this situation. The A's don't. This is a self-inflicted wound. Well, a strange piece of news has come about over the last couple of weeks. Is that suddenly, maybe they found this out while they were moving their offices to Sacramento, but they turned over enough couch cushions to find money to sign a free agent that they were able to bring in. That to the amazement to everyone, they're able to bring in Luis Severino. As the Mets were, preparing to throw all the money in the world to get Juan Soto, the A's found 67 million tomatoes for Luis Severino, the biggest deal the A's have ever spent. And of course, when you take a look at some of the teams, I'm not even talking, and I've said before, I'm not even talking about the days of Jose Canseco. I'm not even talking about even the days of the Moneyball era with Jason Giambi, and in the beginning of the film when they lost Giambi and Johnny Damon and Jason Isringhausen in the same year. I'm talking going back to 2020. Going back to 2020 when the A's won the division in the truncated season, and it meant for the third straight year they went to the postseason. And you saw a team that had Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, Stephen Piscotty. You had a rotation that had Chris Bassett. You had Mike Fiers. You had Sean Manaea. You had Frankie Montas. You had Liam Hendricks as your closer. You had a good nucleus of players, all under 30. I mean, Murphy was under 30. Olson was under 30. Simeon was under 30. Chapman was under 30. Ramon Laureano was under 30. Stephen Piscotty was under 30. Jesus Luzardo, Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas. You had a young core. And this is in 2020. And then in 2021, the team contended pretty deep into the year until they collapsed in all those games, especially in those walk-off games to Toronto. But that team still had Olson. They still had Chapman. That team had Elvis Andrus was on that team. They had Mark Canha on that team. They still had Montas and Manaea and Cole Irvin and Chris Bassett. They still had a good young team, and that team wound up winning 86 games back in 2021. And then, boom, the entire team was blown up because they didn't have the money. And now they land in Sacramento, and suddenly they're starting to spend a little bit of money. And all of a sudden, they pull off another trade. And they traded away Joe Boyle and a pick and two minor league players, Will Simpson, who did not play Chief in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Jacob Waters. And they got Jacob Lopez from the Rays, who's, pitched a handful of games. He's not, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. But you got Jeffrey Springs, who the A's brought in from the Red Sox in 2021. And he pitched very well out of the bullpen that year and then looked like he was going to be their next big starter. And injuries basically derailed his 2023 and 2024 season. But he is someone with a nice, big, fat contract, at least, compared to the Rays. And the A's brought him in. If he's healthy, then you take a look at the A's will go into next year with a decent rotation, provided Severino is healthy, and Jeffrey Springs is healthy, and J.P. Sears, and Mitch Spence, and Joey Estes. That's not a bad starting five. And if Mason Miller continues to be a very good closer, like he was his rookie year, when I thought he should have won Rookie of the Year, what the hell do I know? And this was a team that, they lost 93 games. It was because they had those horrible, May and June. They played winning baseball for the second half of the season. They have a legitimate star in Brent Rooker. Lawrence Butler is a rising star. J.J. Bleday is a rising star. They'd be able to, if God forbid they keep a team together and looks like they're maybe trying to add instead of subtract to this club, then there's an outside chance which is looking a lot less and less like it's outside, that the A's could put a contending team on the field. If you're starting a decent starting pitcher every night, and you're allowing the Butlers and the Rookers of the world to play well, this team went 15-9 in July. They went 14-12 in August. They slumped in September. Okay. But they were a 500 team on May 5th. And then when, after they absolutely hit rock bottom at the end of June, they played pretty well. In fact, after the end of June, they finished the year 39-37 the rest of the way. That's the fourth best record in baseball in that stretch, in the fourth best record in the American League in that stretch. Only the Yankees, Astros, and the surprising Detroit Tigers played better over the second half. So if you have a team that is putting a good pitcher on the mound virtually every night if they're healthy, can close out games, can score some runs, then maybe the good folks of Sacramento will see a halfway decent team. And when you also take into effect that the Astros, we're not 100% sure what's happening there. They are moving some things around. They may take a step back or they may take a step forward. We don't know. But we also know there are vulnerable teams that became playoff teams this year. There is no super team in the American League. So a team that can pitch well, close out games, and score runs, maybe the Sacramento A's, which, by the way, is, let's all agree that's what we're going to call them. They're not just the Athletics. They play technically in West Sacramento, but that's the city that they represent. Don't hide from that. Of course, it's the A's and everything is sneaky and there are ulterior motives. But these ulterior motives are demonstrating, in my opinion, a shift in thinking that many of the people who screamed for a salary cap have to realize, wait, no. It's the other end we should be focusing on. Hey, it's the holiday season, which means we're going to have some great meals. And nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and the bustle and save 50% off site-wide during their cyber sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code MLB. With 5 generations of experience, Omaha Steaks consistently delivers the world's best steak experience, and their gifting experts have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoroughly curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide during the cyber sale, at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code MLB and a $30 reward card if you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code MLB. Minimum purchase may apply. Omaha Steaks. Get in the mood. Sorry, I tripped over that. The Omaha Steaks should be the name of the expansion team in Omaha. There's a reason why John Fisher is starting to spend money, and it has nothing to do with his desire to put a decent product on the field in Sacramento. There's no microscope to detect how little John Fisher cares about the product on the field with the A's. I mean, we all saw it when he announced that they were going to be playing in Sacramento. The only player he could think of that he wants to see hit a home run was Aaron Judge. I mean, the man doesn't know anything about his team, doesn't care. He sees this as a way to build upon his inherited wealth and somehow make a bunch of money in Las Vegas, the same way that he swindled money out of baseball by pocketing the revenue sharing, which brings us to why he's suddenly spending money. That the A's have to get close to the $105 million luxury tax threshold for their to get revenue sharing. They can't always be bottom feeders. They have to, in order to reach the point where you can collect revenue sharing, you have to show that you're getting your team payroll up to a certain level. That's the purpose of revenue sharing. The purpose of it is to avoid a hard salary cap, which I don't like the idea of a hard salary cap. I don't want teams making decisions based on a hard salary cap. But to have a luxury tax that may prevent teams from saying, geez, I don't want to be spending money on this. You'll get someone like Cohen who doesn't care, but for a lot of teams, they will care. So it may prevent them from going, banana boats. When you have one franchise like, if you have a franchise like the Mets or the Dodgers who don't care if they go banana boats and spend money like crazy, well, that gets everyone upset. Oh, we should have a salary cap. We should have a salary cap. No, you should have a buy-in. There should be a minimum payroll. And how a minimum payroll could help the competitiveness of baseball is being demonstrated here. Now, of course, Fisher wants to raise the payroll to a certain level so he can say, yeah, see what he can do. And then when it collapses again, he'll take all the money from revenue sharing and pocket it because he's a swindler and a swine who never earned a dime in his life. He inherited all his money. And when I want to get more money. But the advantage of the luxury tax threshold that he has to reach and that he's on the verge of getting a grievance filed against him, which he will probably win. The union would probably win against him for slashing the payroll and pocketing the money and everything like that. He'll probably lose that grievance. So what does it do? It puts a little Bunsen burner under his little Fisher butt, and all of a sudden he is making moves that are, making sure the purse strings are open for deals that will improve the team. Severino, if he is healthy, will improve the team. We've seen when he's pitched for the Yankees and when he's pitched for the Mets, when he's healthy, he's an outstanding pitcher. If Jeffrey Springs is healthy, he is a good pitcher. And now there is the possibility, and I think it's maybe an outside possibility, but that they're talking about maybe giving Rooker a contract extension. And all of this is because he is being forced to spend money. And all of a sudden, if you look up and say, hey, what if the A's put together a halfway decent product? And you will look at the history of the Oakland A's. They've had some unbelievably low valleys, but their times of being a struggling team don't really last very long. If you look at the history of the A's in Oakland, they have, even when they fall apart, they get back up pretty quickly. Pretty darn quickly. The Charlie Finley team is dismantled after 1975, really 76, but they're back in the playoffs in 81. Billy Ball ends in 82, but they're back with the Canseco years in 88. That all ends in 92. Okay, you got a little bit of a gap, but by 2000, they're a playoff team again. That team gets torn apart, and that's pretty much over in 2006. But by 2012, they're a playoff team again. And that team gets torn apart, but by 2018, they're a playoff team again. And that team got torn apart just a couple of years ago, and they'll probably be a playoff team again. And if a team has to spend money, has to improve, then you will see that there are all these potential free agents or potential players who want to be traded off. If they have to reach a certain threshold, then you have to go and pull your inner Brewster's Millions and populate your team with major league players. And if every team has to do that, then yes, you're going to have the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees and some other teams bidding big time on the big superstars. But the players underneath the Soto and Judge and Ohtani threshold will be open for everybody. And oftentimes those players turn out to be the ones who become the big players. I would love to see the A's go in and maybe offer for Teoscar Hernandez, another bat on that team, and that could be an 85-win team. I'm not joking. But if there's anything more embarrassing than the fact that they're going to be playing in a minor league stadium, it's that they have to share the minor league stadium. But a situation has come up that I had hinted at earlier this year that this could be a solution to their problems. But guess what? It almost has to be. And if baseball doesn't allow this potential solution to happen, then do you know what? They're just losing their mind. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. I'm going to date myself with a movie reference here. When I was in high school, one of my favorite comedies was This Is Spinal Tap. And there was a moment which follows a fictitious heavy metal band in the 1980s. It's one of the original mockumentaries. And it's a brilliant comedy. And for those of you who know it, you know it's hysterical. And there's a moment when the Spinal Tap is the name of the heavy metal band, and they were at a low point in their tour, which is just completely collapsing around them. And they're going to play at a carnival, at an amusement park. And the marquee for where they will be playing says Puppet Show and Spinal Tap. And the manager, she looks at it, so I told him 100 times, Spinal Tap, it's supposed to be Spinal Tap and Puppet Show. And she makes the band feel better that they get a bigger dressing room than the puppets. Why am I bringing that scene up? Because the A's are a Major League Baseball team, and they're sharing a stadium. They're sharing a minor league stadium with a minor league team. Puppet Show and Spinal Tap, Sacramento Rivercats and Athletics. It's the Rivercats Stadium that they're going to be playing in. And again, this is not the situation like with the Rays. That was weather. That was God. This is Fisher. Note the difference. And they put themselves in this position. And the commissioner of baseball, who, by my last check, the person who claimed to be the commissioner of baseball was someone named Rob Manfred. There's no evidence that this man has ever been the commissioner or done any commissioner actions, but I'm just going by what I've read of Wikipedia. That apparently a lawyer by the name of Rob Manfred claims to be the commissioner of baseball right now, but clearly isn't doing his job, because when this ridiculous proposal came about that the A's were going to crash on the couch of the puppet show known as the Sacramento Rivercats, that first of all, the nominal commissioner allows that is insane. But also that he would sully his product. Don't mean to belittle my own nickname, but to sully the product by saying, yeah, this is a Major League Baseball. We'll have them leave Oakland and play in a minor league ballpark. That seems to be the best solution. But the nanosecond it was announced, the first thing that went in my mind was, okay, well, they're going to put the Rivercats somewhere else. Right? And the fact that it said, no, they'll play there too. And imagine if the A's are not good and you want to see a baseball game in Sacramento and you can pay what are going to be exorbitant prices that the A's are going to be charging for their fans, or you could be buying minor league prices to see a minor league team sending their players off to the Giants. Which one do you think you'll go to? Oh, and by the way, For those of you who know, I went to a Rivercats game. I went to a day game in July, and it was so painfully hot that no one will be able to sit in their seats. This is going to be a catastrophe, and we all know it. But at least if it would feel less like a catastrophe and less cheap and less of puppet show and Spinal Tap if the A's had the stadium to themselves and didn't have to share it. Well, a situation has popped up. And I think, and frankly, I don't understand why they can't do it for next year. But the Modesto Nuts, who are a minor league affiliate in Modesto, California, the city that gave us George Lucas, basically the inspiration for American Graffiti and Tatooine, was the Modesto Nuts have been purchased by the Diamond Media Company, who intend to move them after the 2025 season to the Inland Empire, which already has the Inland Empire 66ers and the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. They're trying to make that whole region there a big sort of have like a minor league triangular rivalry. And I guess they're going to put them either in, I think it's San Bernardino they're going to put them in, which is a kick to the nuts for the Nuts. That was unintended when I realized it was coming out of my mouth there. And a community that has supported a minor league team there for generations are going to have their affiliated minor league team taken away from them. Meanwhile, the city of Fresno, which for many, many years had a AAA team for Giants, I believe they had one for the A's. I know they had one for the Houston Astros at one time. They were considered to be a AAA city, Fresno. And now they're the single A affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. Okay. I don't understand why they can't do this now, but we'll have 1 year of puppet show and Spinal Tap in Sacramento, which is going to stink. And in 2026, this is what has to happen. Okay? The Rivercats, the Sacramento Rivercats, their organization, the AAA affiliates of the Sacramento Rivercats, the front office and everything, they are going to take over the Fresno Grizzlies. Okay? Meanwhile, so that will be the AAA. Fresno will be, once again, the AAA affiliate of the San Francisco Giants. Meanwhile, the Fresno Grizzlies, as they constitute right now, is a single A team for the Colorado Rockies. That team, the Colorado Rockies single A affiliate, will be in Modesto. So Modesto, they'll lose the Mariners won't be the affiliate after 2025. Don't worry, team's being put right in there. It's going to be an affiliated team. It's going to be a Colorado Rockies affiliate. And then you have the AAA people in Fresno are going to, yay, we got a AAA team again. It may only be temporary, but yay, at least for a while, we're going to show we're a AAA team. Modesto says, yay, we're going to have an affiliated major league team or minor league team here that's affiliated with, it's no longer the Mariners, but now it's the Rockies. Yippee. And the new ownership of the Nuts wants to put a team in some sort of triangular crossfire with the Rancho Cucamonga and the Inland Empire 66ers. Boom, they get to do it too. And the A's have their own minor league stadium and maybe can cultivate Sacramento as an affiliate, as a potential landing spot for either the A's to not go to Vegas and build it there, and baseball expands into Las Vegas, or if the A's go on to Las Vegas, Sacramento shows, hey, we're a viable landing spot for expansion franchise. And if it doesn't work, then maybe the Fresno Grizzlies go back and the Rivercats are formed again. But this way, Sacramento gets what they want to show they're not a minor league city, but they're a major league city. Fresno gets to show they're a AAA city. Modesto gets to show that they are a minor league city, and they don't have to go to the Toshi station and pick up power converters. Someone tell me why that can't work and why that makes less sense than puppet show and Spinal Tap. All right, well, going into this week, see if there's any more. There's still some big free agents out there. Maybe the A's can sign a couple of them, and we show the salary floor can make even the A's spenders. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be a big spender right here on the podcast. So follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Blue Sky. Sully Baseball, just on Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. It's late. Talking about the A's spending money and doing a little bit of a shell game with the Nuts of Modesto. This has been Locked On MLB for the 15th day of December 2024. I'm yours, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.